Thank y'all so much for tuning back into my channel. Listen, I want to talk about the crown of Moses, right? And so this actually holds symbolic, mystical significance, right? In spiritual traditions, all right? Now, the crown of Moses, it represents a symbol of divine authority. Now, Moses was chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, right? And to speak on God's behalf. Now, in this sense, the crown, y'all, it represents spiritual authority, leadership, and divine favor, right? And metaphorically, a crown, it is bestowed, okay, by God. Remember, Psalms 103:4, it says here that God speaks of himself crowning you with love and compassion, right? Which can be applied to Moses as a servant of divine compassion and justice, okay? Now, in Numbers 12:7-8, God says, with him I speak face to face, right? Highlighting Moses' unique spiritual access. Listen, Moses had, unique spiritual access to God. He spoke to God face to face. Now, listen, this was a symbol of divine authority, right? Also, Moses is described as very humble, more than any man on the face of the earth. This was a crown of humility and obedience that Moses had, right? In Numbers 12:3, you can see where it says that more than any man on the face of the earth, his crown could be seen not as a symbol of power, but it was of humility, it was of obedience, and it was of sacrifice, making him, Moses, a servant leader, y'all, in the highest spiritual sense. Do you understand me? Now listen, the crown of Moses, it was also mystical, okay? Now, listen to this. The crown also, all right, let me tell you, is associated with eternity, victory, okay, and spiritual knowledge. And so the kether, okay, keter in the mystical or in the Kabbalah, it represents divine will, okay, unity and alignment, all right. It's the light of the Shekinah. The Shekinah is the divine presence that radiated from his face after encountering God on Mount Sinai, okay, in Exodus 34:29. So I'm talking about the crown of Moses. Also, go do your due diligence because there is a lost book called The Crown of Moses, y'all. Listen to this. So Moses, he wore no earthly crown. He did not. But he held the prophetic mantle. Do y'all hear me? That no one else equaled in Deuteronomy. Okay. In Deuteronomy, y'all, 34:10, his crown, it is the Torah itself, which he brought down from Sinai, the ultimate law and wisdom from God. And so listen to this. I'm talking about the crown of the Torah, representing wisdom given to Moses, right? This is the crown of Moses. He also had angelic, y'all, encounters where he is honored in heaven, okay? He was possibly seen as crowned with divine glory, okay? Do y'all hear me? And there is a lost book, okay? And it's called The Crown of Moses, okay? Let me talk about this. It was a lost book, you guys, okay? So listen, it was mystical. It was a sacred text, okay? But let me tell you, some of these lost books, okay, they were never widely published or preserved, okay? Even the ascension of Moses. Then you had the assumption of Moses. And then you had the apocalypse of Moses. And now I'm talking about the crown of Moses, y'all. Okay? I'm talking about where Moses, he had angelic encounters because where he is honored in heaven it possibly was seen as a crown, or as crowned with divine glory. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the glory of the Most High, because Moses had what? He had a prophetic mantle, even though he wore no earthly crown. Do y'all hear me? Okay. I'm talking about the Torah itself. All right. I'm talking about the divine presence of the Most High that radiated from his face. Okay. After encountering God. Do y'all hear me? God said he will crown you with love. He will crown you with compassion. He said, with him, I will speak face to face. Y'all better understand that God, he will speak to you face to face. If you what? If you crown yourself in humility and obedience. So the crown of Moses, it was symbolic. It was mystical, right? And so listen also to this. Let's talk about this a little bit, because let me tell y'all. So I'm talking about esoteric information now in the lost books, the sacred texts, or secret texts, because why? I'm a steward of the mysteries of the Most High. And so go and look up the ascension of Moses, the assumption of Moses, and the apocalypse of Moses, and go read those lost books. Listen. And also, let's talk about this, okay? Hidden teachings, they are given directly by God, okay? Passed to Moses, but never written down publicly. Some of these teachings, y'all, okay, they are given directly by God. Man cannot give you these type of mystical or secret texts. It can only be revealed by God, right? So listen, I'm talking about the crown of Moses, right? Moses, he even received y'all divine secrets on Mount Sinai. God had given these secrets to Moses, y'all, and it was passed down to Moses, but these secrets were never written down publicly. This is how awesome God is, right? And so, listen, I want y'all to do y'all research and do your due diligence, right? I want y'all to get more into esoteric lore. I'm talking about mystical or legendary texts associated, y'all, with secret teachings, okay? Spiritual authority and divine revelation attributed to Moses, okay? And I'm talking about information, okay, that was not or never widely published. I'm talking about angel names. Yeah, because why? Moses had heavenly encounters. And so I just wanted to come on here and talk about this with you so that I could dive deeper into the ideal and the ideology of the crown of Moses. The book of the crown of Moses, the scroll of the hidden glory, and the crowned revelation. Listen, y'all. This is really deep. Really, really deep. Okay? And the reason, okay, it's so deep is because, Moses, after his 40 days on Mount Sinai, the crown of Moses was believed to contain, okay, the names of God not found in the Torah, the knowledge from the tree of life before the fall, and instructions for angelic communication, okay, spiritual ascent, and divine rulership, and the laws of eternity, governing not only Israel, okay, but these laws of eternity, they also govern the celestial order, okay? And unlike the public Torah, this book was said to be sealed, and it was hidden from the profane, okay? And only revealed to the most holy and to the most initiated. So understand, why was it hidden, or why was it lost? Okay? So some of these lost books, you guys, they are only revealed to the most holy and to the most initiated, okay? God commanded Moses to keep this revelation secret because why? The people were not ready, okay? And this is why the scroll, it was taken into heaven after Moses' death, all right? Guarded by Metatron, the angelic form of Enoch, okay? Now also, it could have been buried with Moses hidden in the valley, according to Deuteronomy 34:6. But it was only known to the archangels. Okay? And so also, it could have also been burned in the destruction of the first temple, as it was stored in the Holy of Holies. So, it was several reasons why these lost books, okay, they were never widely published. They were hidden or lost, okay? And I'm going to get more into this, okay? Now, however, I'm going to get more into the sacred names of God used to command angelic hosts. And the cosmos, okay? Now, also, I'm talking about the names that govern stars, all right? I'm going to talk about more of the veil and the face, because Moses, his spiritual transformation after encountering God's glory, what did that really mean, okay? I want to talk about also the language of fire, you guys, because a divine language was taught to Moses by God through the burning bush, okay? And then also, let's talk about the crown and the sword, because how spiritual authority and warfare are joined. I want to talk about insights into dominion without violence. And we're going to talk about the hidden times, the prophetic timelines, okay? And the knowledge of God's appointed times. And when you get into the eternal temple, this is the description, y'all, of the heavenly tabernacle that mirrors the earthly one, okay? And then also the breath of God. These are techniques for drawing near to God's presence through breath, through silence, and through light, okay? So I want to get more into this. I want to talk more about the crown of Moses and what it represents, right? Okay, I'm talking about the inner wisdom of the Torah that transcends legalism. I'm talking about personal divine connection, the face-to-face intimacy with God, and the glory given to the meek. Do y'all hear me? As Moses was the humblest man alive. And I'm talking about a template for spiritual transformation, where you go from being a slave to being now a liberator, okay? You go from being a prince to a prophet, and from a man to a radiant being. So this is really deep, all right? Listen, y'all, Moses had some secrets that God has shared with him, okay? And these secret books were given to the prophets, okay? These secrets were shared with the prophets, y'all. They hold the secrets that have never been written. I'm talking about hidden knowledge, divine revelation from God, right? This is the crown of Moses. I'm going to be back. I'm going to talk more about esoteric information. We're going to get more into these lost books so that you can go from being a man, okay, a regular man, to a radiant being. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about divine glory. I talked about postpartum glory, okay? After birth, y'all, after you go through the rebirth, then you get the glory, okay? I'm talking about this personal divine connection where you speak face to face and you have intimacy with God, because this glory is only given to the meek. Because why? It was given to Moses, but it was not widely public. It wasn't. It was only shared and given to the meek. So listen, I love y'all. I'm going to be back. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel because I have more divine revelation. I got more angelic downloads and more, messages that God wants me to share with you. So you can go from being a man to a radiant being, okay? And you're going to be receiving divine angelic encounters.